Hey everybody, welcome to Tuesday's Truth with Alonda Hassel. As you can see, there are boxes behind me. Talk about tired, talk about exhausted. Moving is no joke, and moving from a house to an apartment is insane, but here we are. But I wanted to talk about a different kind of fatigue. While I'm physically fatigued right now, in this moment, I wanted to talk about a fatigue that my co-worker shared with us. A few of us were staying around talking about the kids and talking about how we're just going to work to help them get to a place where, they're just self-sufficient and they can advocate for themselves. And he literally said, my coworker, you ever hear of compassion fatigue? And I was like, wait, what? Just in my entire spirit, it just spoke, it resonated with me. And I'm going to read the definition. Compassion fatigue is physical and mental exhaustion and emotional withdrawal experienced by those who care for the sick, the traumatized, or people who have gone through many things over an extended period of time. So in essence, you have compassion for people, but you have done it for so long and you've cared for people for so long that you are fatigued, you're tapped out, you're exhausted, and you're struggling with being in a position to help other people. People who are at risk of compassion fatigue are those, of course, who work in healthcare, the healthcare profession, first responders, people who are long-term care professionals or volunteers, people who are caregivers to children or adults that have special needs, people who provide a service for people that don't necessarily get, money or an instant reward. It's this constant care, this showing up all the time. Pastors struggle with or at risk for compassion fatigue. Chaplains, those who work in the humanitarian field, doing any service for people, even if you get paid for it. Those people, we are all at risk for compassion fatigue. And it's not burnout. It's literally you are physically tired. You are withdrawing from consistently giving to others. And I don't want to just talk about this from a teacher's perspective, but there are many of us who give to others and we don't get in return. And we can talk about self-care and taking care of yourself and making sure you after you pour out, make sure you get filled up, because you can't pour from an empty cup. We say all of those things, but the reality of our lives, for those of us who struggle with or are at risk for compassion fatigue, is that we give and we do it because we love doing it. We care about people. We want to do it. But sometimes you just become exhausted. Some signs, again, I'm reading because it just resonated with me, is that there's physical anxiety. You could have breathing difficulties, muscle tension, digestive problems because you are fatigued from what you give. You could have a sense of hopelessness for those people that you are actually called to work with. That there's no hope. I don't know why I keep doing this. I'm tired of doing this. Your ability to empathize with people becomes decreased. These are so powerful. You become irritable and impatient. You have decreased productivity and decreased job satisfaction. Now, if you're working in a humanitarian field, your job, you're just not satisfied. You have a reduced ability to feel pleasure from the things that you've always done. You have trouble sleeping. and you have an urge to isolate yourself because you're so tapped out, you don't want to give yourself in any way. So you want to isolate yourself from others, and you have self-doubt and reduce self-esteem. Now, you could be experiencing or have experienced some of these things. I'm not a clinician. I cannot say if you are struggling with compassion fatigue. What I am saying is that you have to recognize and know your worth, and you have to do what you have to do for you so that you don't get to the place where all of these different signs are your reality. Get to a place where you take time off. And I tell you guys all the time, I struggle with taking days off. I struggle with doing those things, but I have to do them more because I have found myself really struggling, not just from work, but from church, from community, from family, from compassion fatigue. So there are these ABCs that I found. You must have an awareness. Be aware of your needs, your emotions, and your limits, and don't go beyond them. Be aware of those. And some days your limits are greater than others, but know what your limits, know what your needs, know what your emotions are when you are dealing with people. That's awareness. And then B is balance. You need to have a good balance between work, your leisure time, and your rest. Man, am I talking to myself? But better, and guys, we all know there are seasons of our lives, there are times in our lives, weeks in our lives, months in our lives, when the balance is crazy because you have to give attention to some other things, hence these boxes behind me. But make sure you find a good balance for you. Don't let someone tell you what that balance is, but find a good balance for you. And then C, connection. Connect to yourself. That's so important. Tap in, do the things you like to do. Connect to yourself, connect to others, and most importantly, make sure you connect to God before you do any of these things, because He is your number one source and provider. All right, compassion fatigue. I'm not sharing this to help give you an excuse to not do, but an awareness that it's a real thing. And when you go through those times in your life where you just are like, I don't want to be around people, I don't want to help people, I don't want to serve people, I'm sick and tired of people. Now you can name it, and now you can look at those signs, and you can also look at how do I adjust my life, this season, so that I can follow the ABCs and make certain that I don't lose me while I'm trying to help many others. All right, that is my Tuesday's Truth. I hope that it inspired you to do something great for yourself, to continue having compassion, because that's a beautiful thing. And to not give up, and to, take care of yourself while you take care of others, because that's a part of our lives. All right. Share this video with someone that may be struggling with compassion fatigue. And it's very similar to burnout, so share it with them as well. Make sure you like it. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about compassion fatigue and maybe some of the things that you do to help you remain aware, balanced, and connected. All right. Have a fantastic Tuesday. I love you all. All right. Bye-bye.